To understand the benefits of note taking, research has addressed two functions of note taking: the process function, which relates to the act of taking notes and how that activity supports learning, and the product function, or the storage aspect of notes, that they store information that can later be studied. These two functions are also sometimes referred to as the encoding function, since the value in the act of taking notes is likely one of more elaboratively encoding the information being learned than just being presented with it. And the storage function, since it can be beneficial to have access to the information at a later time. Back to our original terms of process and product. Let's first take a closer look at the process aspect of note taking. A learning benefit of the act of taking notes is often found in research, even when learners aren't given the opportunity to review their notes. This is sometimes referred to as the note taking effect. The note taking effect is typically measured in a couple of ways. Most often, by comparing on some measure of learning, learners who are allowed to take notes and those who are not allowed to take notes. And it is also sometimes measured by comparing memory for lesson ideas that did get recorded in the notes versus those that did not get recorded. When trying to understand how the note taking effect happens, what cognitive processes are involved, two are suspected and have been targeted by research: attention, and how the act of taking notes helps prevent mind wandering, and generative processing, which refers to the learner using their understanding to generate or produce the learning material, which research shows supports learning. Next, let's take a look at the product function of note taking. The product function of note taking is described as the learning benefit of reviewing notes. It is typically measured by comparing some learning outcome for note takers that are given the opportunity to review their notes versus participants who take notes but are not allowed to review them. Cognitive processes involved in the product function of note taking are trickier to identify because it is more of a tool that can be used in just about any way a learner wishes to use it. However, the learning benefit that is most generally noted in the research is where students are given a chance to reread their notes. We do know, though, that there are much more effective cognitive processes for students to be engaged in when they study their notes, such as additional generative processing of the content and ideas in the course, and retrieval practice, or practice remembering the content of the notes, which is really the number one thing students can do to learn course material.